I guess if I can't get it done tonight, I do have the Challenger to drive. I would like to keep my license, but the car needs to be drove as well. I drove it today to actually pick up this winch. I stuck it in the trunk. It was kind of a pain to get out of the trunk. I have purchased a Badlands Apex winch. I was actually watching some reviews on this, and there's a gentleman who said he worked for Warren for a few years, and looking at the specs of the internals, he says basically the internals of this are the same as Warren. And if you go to Harbor Freight site, or if you get their ads in the mail for their coupons, they are advertising this 12,000 pound Apex winch against the Warren Xenon, which, depending upon where you can get it and what kind of discounts are available, is about a $1,700 to $2,000 winch. Today, I am getting rid of the Smittybilt X2O 15,500 pound winch because it broke. The pins actually pulled out of the plug here. I'll show you. Pins pulled out of this plug, and I can no longer use it. The switch has also broke, so we can no longer switch it from wired to wireless. And one thing I will say is this, I don't normally have to use a winch because of the setup that I am running now with the front and rear selectable lockers, the 40-inch tires. The couple of times that I have had to use this winch have kind of been a pain in the butt. Like when you go to free spool it, this will stick. Like you can't just, you have to, well, now it's not working. I actually did send a video of this to Smittybilt. They said it was normal because the gears are straight cut, which makes sense. But in a situation like, I actually had to use this winch to get a buddy up guardrail at SMORR. He made it up in between 1/2 and 3/4, and he just has open diffs on his Gladiator, and he couldn't make it, and he's not as tall as I am with these. He has 37s. So we actually, because I went up before him, I was the only person with a winch that could get him up the rest of the way. In a situation like that, it was getting dark. Granted, nobody was really, it wasn't an emergency situation, but having to fight with the drum, like Smittybilt says you have to rock this drum if you have issues with this. If anybody's been to SMORR and specifically been to Guardrail this year, it's very slimy, greasy mud. Having to deal with that on a winch line like this, because we did have to get him up a certain way and then use a snatch block to get him up the rest of the way because I couldn't go anywhere. But it's inconvenient. Now, I'm not dogging on Smittybilt. Smittybilt is obviously a good brand. I actually have another buddy who has a Smittybilt synthetic winch, and he has never had any issues with his. Granted, his is smaller than mine, but we have not been very happy with this winch. I was pretty happy it was heavier than the Power Wagon at 15.5. The Power Wagon from the factory comes with a 12,000 pound Warren winch, but we have not had the best experience with this winch. It did work a couple of times, like I said, but it's kind of been a pain, and I'm pretty excited to test out the Badlands Apex just because it's a lot cheaper than Warren, and I'm hoping this lasts a lot longer than this one. so I can kind of prove my husband wrong on Harbor Freight, at least this specific Harbor Freight winch. So we're gonna find out. I'm gonna try and get this one off by myself. This winch is probably 125 pounds. I weigh like 140. Obviously this is a very big winch. So being my husband is not here and I don't have any help, I will, if all else fails, use the cherry picker to get this off. So we're gonna take this thing off and put the new one on. Here it is. This weighs significantly less than my current winch. Like I said, my current winch weighs about 125 pounds. This one on the website, I think it weighed like 83. So there is gonna be some weight savings on the front, not that I really care. You do have the option of relocating this controller into the engine bay. I'm not gonna do that. I am just going to leave it on the winch. Oh, the cable is already connected. And a lot of people like this. So my husband was gonna do something like this with my winch, and we just didn't have anything. So the fact that this comes like this already is kind of a nice touch. Now that this is loose, I have to, I don't think that's good. Well, I might use the cherry picker. I'm gonna hopefully get this winch up here by myself without smashing my toes, because I'm a genius and wear flip-flops because it's hot. This winch weighs about 83 pounds. This one weighs 125. This one is more, this one's IP69K for water, so this one is actually meant to withstand pressurized water up to like 1,430 PSI. That's IP67. This one is IP68 for dust. I don't know what this one is for dust. It might be IP67. So we're gonna move on. Like I said, I hope I can get this winch up here by myself. If not, I'll be using this thing again and probably using like a tow strap or a recovery strap or a ratchet strap or something to get it underneath there, just to get it up here. So yeah, here we go. I have my Smitty built. Okay, so we're gonna bolt, flat washer, lock washer, and to fight with this thing. Not even close. Lot more room. Do you guys see this? Do you guys see this? See how much more room this is between the winch and the mounting bracket? I'm gonna temporarily put on or test fit the Haas spare lead to see if it's going to fit on this for sure.
I'm gonna take a picture of 76.
Okay guys, I got the winch on. Here it's not wired up, but it is on. Here it is. There it is. Got the fair lead on. I had to reuse my winch bracket. I don't have everything tight. Like I said, I still gotta wire it up. I gotta see how I'm gonna route the wires, but yeah. Finally have the negative cable on. Whoa! Both the negative and the positive. So now what we're gonna do, so I've got them kind of routed up here in between the grill and the bumper, and I am going to route these up to the battery. Move it up here. Oh. Okay. Lay that over there. All right, everything is all mounted. I've got it wired up to the battery. It works. I've tested it wirelessly. I didn't plug it in. If it works wirelessly, I assume it plugs in. It works when it's plugged in. So here it is. I grabbed my old winch cover. As you can see, top is faded and muddy, just to see if it fits, because this was a pretty big winch. And I will say this cover, even though it's a little saggy right here, which is fine, it's a little tight. It actually was a little tight to get on. So I got the cables running down here and then up by the battery, by the air box. So I need to find some zip ties and keep those away from the belt. That is what I'm currently trying to find right now. Winch is covered. Bolts are tight. Stuff is zip tied away from the belt. It's a little long down here. I don't know, maybe just zip tie that back up like that. I think I'm gonna have to. Just zip tie these three together. Yeah. It's on. I did it all by myself with the help of the cherry picker because I wasn't getting the smelty build off by myself. So I'm gonna call it a night. I do have a license plate holder that is coming from Amazon, so I'm not gonna tighten these right now for the Fairy Lead because they're gonna have to come off anyway to put the license plate holder on because that one will not work. Yeah. You can do it by yourself. You can do it. Good night, everyone.